Welcome. Thank you guys all for coming. My name is Ashley Andrews, and I'm part of the group Upper Valley Young Liberals that is hosting this. So I just wanted to say a little bit what Upper Valley Young Liberals is in case some of you here don't know. We are a group founded about 4 months ago by Nick Clark and a bunch of ex-Bernie Sanders campaigners and people working in the West Lebanon office for Bernie, like Allie Hannigan, our vice chair, who's now working for Matt Dunn. And the mission of our organization is to foster and encourage cultural and political participation from young people. Our group is not exclusive to young people, but we do try to push people under 35 to hold executive positions, try to get them into leadership roles that they might not otherwise be able to experience. And we've done a lot in the past 4 months. We've had people elected as national delegates, including myself. We have people running for office. We have people getting involved on the municipal level. So it's been really successful, and part of our model is that we have committees that branch off, and each committee, anything can be made into a committee if there's a member who has the desire or passion about a specific topic to do it. And Olivia LaPierre over here is extremely passionate about the environment and sustainability, and she came to us and started coming to meetings and said she was interested in doing a sustainability committee, which she has headed. And today, this is the committee's first event. So next we have someone from Vermont here, and they're going to talk about how do Vermont homes address sustainability. After Hurricane Irene, they were rebuilding homes, and home builders and planners faced an important question: simply replace or improve? And Vermont has done that. So here we have Marcie that's going to come and speak. And Vermont is on Route 5, just so anyone knows. It's another one that's right in our backyard.
Oh, hello. Now I can't see anything. Hi, my name is Marcie Pleasance, and we've started the slideshow. I am a homeowner of Vermont Home, where I happily lived for about 6 months and started talking, and eventually the owner came to me and said, "Do you want to talk about these all the time?" And I said, "Sure." So he gave me a job, and this is my first presentation of this sort, so please bear with me. I'm very enthusiastic. I'm passionate about Vermont homes because we are sustainable. And I thought I would look up the definition of sustainability in the dictionary to make sure that we were on track before I talked here. And apparently we are, because we meet the resource efficiency requirements, and we source sustainable materials that are regrown fast, like bamboo floors and wooden cabinets and things that we can control that don't use plastic. And the plan after Hurricane Irene was to replace mobile homes. That's why this says Mobile Home Replacement Program. And could we have the next slide? Are you over there, Tiger?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. These are our sponsors, partners, Efficiency Vermont, who of course endorses what we're doing because we are creating something that is good for the environment, good for the people who live inside, and doesn't wear thin on resources. Vermont Housing and Conservation Board, similar approach and similar endorsement. Hill Maharan Architects are the architects who have put their stamp on our standard designs. We have standard designs and custom designs. You could pretty much pretend they're like Legos and take modular units and arrange them. My house is L-shaped, for example. It's a large home like the one pictured that's been cut in half and put in an L to fit the small lot that I had. High Meadows Fund, all I know about them is they send money. Very helpful. Next, please. So existing manufactured housing, this was the problem. After Hurricane Irene, it was even worse. Of course, many of these were in splinters. And, well, you can see that the one in the picture really needs replacement. And the next picture, please, also does. Yes. So the two people who started it, Steve Davis and Chet Pacho, wanted to create something to replace homes like this that had survived Hurricane Irene, although we didn't know how. And they said, but we want to give people something better, and we want it to be affordable to the people who have been living in these homes. And so they started working with those sponsors in the previous slide and choosing sites, first of all, that would not harm the environment, where they could even be beneficial to the environment by keeping an area neat and clean and possibly leaving space for growing crops, for example, or just flower gardens, anything to keep nature in the picture instead of having a land that's totally paved over. They decided to choose renewable materials such as bamboo flooring and wooden cabinet doors. We don't use MDF anymore at all, I don't think. We use something that's called recycled plywood. And yes, it has been glued together, and I'm really sorry that we used glue, but it's low or no formaldehyde glue. We use low VOC paints. The volatile organic compounds have been taken out of the paint nowadays. It's more expensive, and it's a little bit harder to use, I find, but it's better for the environment. And people can live in a home that's put together with these in a way that promotes health and peace of mind. And other things that we use to keep everything renewable are LED lights, advanced tech fiberglass insulation. The insulation we use is blown in at a monitored rate so that it's just the right density to be in our 10-inch thick walls that have split studs in there so that there's insulation in between them. There's no thermal bridging between the outside wall and the inside wall because they aren't touching. There's insulation in the middle. This prevents mold buildup. This ensures, by blowing the insulation in, it ensures that there's good insulation and thermal quality in the winter and the summer as well. I just open my windows at night and then close them in the daytime to keep my house cool in the summer. I barely use the air conditioning. What else do we use? Low maintenance siding so that you don't have to go out and paint your siding every couple of years. Our base choice for siding has been vinyl, and we are trying to get away from that because although it is not an off-gassing product when it's put on the siding, we don't approve of the processes that go into manufacturing it or the products that result. And so we're using metal siding now more, and we also offer wood siding. And some people have put cedar on, which is another notch up in the price tag, but we do offer pine siding that's stained to your choice. We also use we should keep going with pictures. Go two more. That's existing, okay. This shows how many mobile homes were out there that comprise the biggest need for replacement in the state of Vermont. So these people with money and an interest in efficiency, like Efficiency Vermont, decided to reward efficiency with money. And so people who are building them, and I was one of them, who had small resources, and I qualified for a lot of rebates, from Efficiency Vermont, from the state of Vermont, from Twin Pines Housing in White River Junction. And they helped me to buy my house because they want to see, and banks want to see, places that are sustainable, that will last and not rot. And they like to see somebody who has used clean products to put together a clean environment. Our houses are hypoallergenic, I believe. I haven't heard anybody officially call them that, but I would say that's what they are. You can use, what are they called? The HEPA filters for the heating system. We have an unusual heating system that cleans the air and reuses it. It recirculates air. It throws the dirt outside, and I hate to say that, and keeps the warmth, the temperature, either warm or cool, inside this unit that filters again and again the air and then sends it throughout the house through the soffits at the top of the walls. And it circulates in a big pattern evenly throughout the house from end to center. And it's very effective for comfort, I have to say. A year ago was when we tested it, and it was 20 below zero a number of days, and I was cozy and comfortable every day and had nice fresh air to breathe too. So it's just what I wanted. I can't see why anybody wouldn't want it. The systems that we put in there are made to make sure that you continue to breathe cool air. Cool air. It's cool because it's good for you. And we use net zero energy is probably our biggest contributor. No fossil fuels are necessary to run our house. It runs on solar power. I have my solar panels on the roof. The laws are changing with the state, and the incentives are changing with the power companies. But still, you can power your home for free if you want to, without using any fossil fuels, by having a storage system, usually batteries, or a generator. Then you go to fossil fuels, though, for backup if you need it. But the storage system would make you totally independent of having to do net metering, which I do. I send my excess power back to the power company, and I get credits from them, which I can apply later when there's less sunshine in the winter. And I keep coming out way ahead on my power credits, so I'm looking for people to trade for something. Anybody wants to trade, I'm available. We recycle our building waste. We also produce very little building waste. Yes, here we go. High level of comfort, I said all that. Let's have the next slide. Affordability, I didn't address that. That was really one of the main incentive and the impetus for creating Vermont homes. And we have managed to come in at about half the price of a standard stick-built home, or a quarter the price of many of the heavily advertised, airtight, ventilated homes that are out there. I mean, blue homes cost $400,000 to start with, I think, or in that neighborhood, and ours start a little over $100,000. You do have to add on the price of your own land and solar panels, I will say. But I bought the solar panels with an incentive, and it's already paid for itself in a year and a half. So I just want everybody to know that it can be done. These are the walls, the double stud walls that I talked about. In a conventional home, there's that single stud that will conduct the cold air into your house in the winter and the warm air in summer. Ours doesn't have that. It has a divider that's made of insulation so that you don't feel that. Next. Hello, Tiger. Here's a 10-inch floor being assembled. Next. So that's filled with 10 inches of insulation, and the floors have an R value, which is the insulation factor, of 40. When I built my first house in 1974, the only insulation available was R19 or R12. So we used R19 in the roof and R12 everywhere else, and the R40 keeps your feet cozy. This shows a real double stud wall in person, and it's in our factory, which is up in Wilder, just below the Dothan Brook School. I bet everybody knows where it is. We now have a 12-foot sign that says Vermont. You can just drive up Route 5 toward Norwich and you'll see it. Next. And we are open for tours. You can come in and check it out if you're interested, any weekday or Saturdays from 10 to 2. Oh, there's a pile of insulation if you have never seen one. That's an awful lot. And that machine on the right is the blower that puts it into the cavities in the walls at the right distribution. Next. This is what the interior looks like once it's getting finished. This one has a slightly peaked roof. We put low roofs on the house because the 10-degree angle is the most effective really in Vermont for catching the rays. If you have an 812 or 912 pitch roof, which is it would be a standard roof like this for a conventional cape, the only time that it would get the sunlight is when the sun is directly in front of it. So you have to aim your house directly south, and it doesn't get that sideways light, which you can get early in the morning and late in the afternoon if you have a low pitch roof. And it also creates more headroom inside that people enjoy for a feeling of spaciousness. Next. Okay, these are the items that some items that contribute to our sustainable systems. And I think I've mentioned all of them. We should keep going because, okay, how do we get there? 7 kilowatt roof mounted photovoltaic system. That means panels on your roof. And it goes directly to your home, and then if there's excess, if you have the kind of system I do where there's net metering, the excess goes through an out meter back to the power company, and they ostensibly have bought it from you or kept it for you, I guess. And then I have credit that I use once the sun gets kind of scarce in December. And last year in December, I had $500 worth of credit on December 1st. And there were 5 months until May, and my bills have been $100 a month for my heat, hot water, appliances, and lights. So that was a pretty great deal. And by May 1st, because it was such a sunny late winter, I had $500 again in credit. So I can't recommend it enough. Next, designs. You can have any kind of design you like in a Vermont home. Next, keep going. I think these are just design options, siding options. We like to keep it modern looking. My boss loves these modern square looking buildings, and so do I. So that's what we have. This is the interior of one of the models. It's very clean and bright, and it stays that way, and it's really bright in January as well. The sustainability I would like to talk about has to do with workers, and I would like to say how green with envy I was when Dan was talking about his cooperative business, because I, of course, love to work in one, being an old, progressive person. Anyway, the company of Vermont has hired people from, well, people who really needed jobs, and been very open-minded in training people and paying them a living wage. And we're creating sustainable jobs because our product is sustainable. We're going to still be building these to meet the 2030 Vermont challenge to have all new houses in Vermont be net zero energy. And that will conserve the environment, it'll cut down on pollution, it'll make people feel good because the homes are clean and healthy. And I'm really excited to work in a place where we are giving jobs to people who are just starting out and who are taking a stake in the company. I mean, the guy who puts the insulation in the walls with that big blower machine takes great pride in knowing, in just touching it with his hand and saying, oh, that's a little bit too loose. I have to make it a little denser. And we don't rely on him for that, but he has learned over the course of 2 years how dense the insulation needs to be to not have condensation in the summer and yet to work all winter long. And he's a young guy who may not I don't know what he would have done if he weren't doing this, but I think he's planning to stay with us. And we really try to retain employees, and I know our business is something that's going to be around for a long time. So I think that's all I have to say because I wasn't that well prepared. Does anybody have a question?
I have a question.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
The picture of this model home, is this on site in Wilder?
Yes. Well, that photograph is actually up in Shelburne. We have two models, one in Shelburne and one in Wilder on Route 5. Where the factory is, the model is at the back of the parking lot to stay out of the way of houses moving out, in and out, well, out only. And yeah, the model is open essentially all day. People get there at 7 in the morning, and in the office they could give you a tour if they were not too busy. And I usually go over around 2 in the afternoon and stay till 5 or 6, catch the after work people. And then Saturdays, there's open house again on from 10 to 2. And we're pretty consistent about being open. So stop by anytime. Yes?
How long does it take to build one of these from the start to when it's ready to move in?
6 weeks. We've done one in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Mine was 5 weeks. Mine's 100 square feet smaller than the standard, so that could have contributed to it. So 5 or 6 weeks is typical though. And some people are putting 4 of these together and making these big shapes that go on and have all these designs. And they may take longer, but really one module of 14 by 70 feet takes 6 weeks. Yes?
You mentioned the roof, the 10-degree pitched roof.
The pitch roof, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how that does for shedding snow, and if there's any technology you use to help increase the shedding of snow.
No, we have not created, the question was, is it necessary to have a technology in place to shed snow from the 10-degree, the shallow angle roof? And the answer is that we overbuild the roof in order to support the snow. And the trade-off was that we believe that the access to solar rays is more important than having a clean roof. And I have been instructed, and I bought home insurance, and I'm just trusting. I'm a guinea pig here, but I didn't shovel my, rake or shovel my roof last year at all when we had 5 feet of snow on there, and it was fine. But that's the first year. The roof, the material used on the roof is rubber membrane, so it's not really great for raking on, I guess. And it's supposed to be extremely sturdy, though, on top of this 14 inches of bracing that we have inside. So my instructions are you just leave it. And that's what the boss tells everybody, so I guess he's not lying. Nobody's complained about that yet. Nobody's roof has fallen in. Oh, hi, I'm sorry.
So are you saying that you did not spend any money on energy for your
A whole
home
year,
in a full year?
yeah.
You had-
And I'm just at 13 months now.
Right, but you spent no money on electricity or any fossil fuel?
I don't have any fossil fuel. These homes are built with no fossil fuel sources.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just getting back to your roof, how, the panels must get covered with snow, how do you?
Yeah, and the panels are tempered glass and
So,
and they're
but-
braced every 6 inches. I
But
do
when
know
they're
that.
covered with snow, they're not generating any electricity?
No, that's right. In December through March anyway, they don't really generate any electricity because of the quality and quantity of sunlight, both of which are lacking sorely. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just curious, you said you had a lot of snow on the roof.
Yeah.
But,
And nothing broke.
right, yeah, but you don't want to, have your solar panels exposed in the winter, it's so ineffective anyway that it's not worth it.
Yeah, you could rake off the solar panels if you wanted to, carefully, I guess. I don't know anyone who has done that. Everybody has accumulated enough credit before December to get through the winter with their homes.
Okay, great.
And we have, oh gosh, it's about 45 homes right now that we have out and about. Yes?
Just a quick comment. Dan Kinnison, first presenter. I know a little bit more about the solar thing. During the winter,
Oh, good.
95, you make quite a bit more electricity just from the reflection than one would think. Solar panels, like you may not have known this,
No,
if
I
you were to
don't.
get a roof rake and just clean the bottom 3 feet of your panels,
Uh-huh.
by the time the sun hits those, it heats the rest of the panels up and the rest of that
Slide.
snow will just slide right off.
Thank you.
Obviously, the steeper your roof, the quicker the snow's going to slide off. But like we have tons of solar panels on, like every single south-facing shed we own has solar on them. I mean, my dad installs this stuff for a living. Of course, that's the way it is. And
So do you try to install them at a low angle also?
we match the pitch of the roof. So our barn
right.
probably has about the same angle as your
You're
houses.
putting them on existing homes.
Right. Our barn, which we built
Mhm.
to be a solar array on the south side, has the lower tier of the barn has probably about the same grade roof as your modular homes, and we don't have to worry about that. We scrape the bottom 3 feet, and the rest just slides
Oh,
right
good,
off.
I'm gonna get a roof rake next year. Thank you.